Hello, this is the Green Corn Rebellion Show. I'm Gregory Harden II, and today I am here with Kay Enagonio. um, they are a singer for the band Chasing Satellites, and they have done metal covers of songs such as Swish and WAP with Taylor Destroy. And they're also a photographer, artist, and one of the coolest TikTokers on TikTok. So, how are you
I'm
doing
flattered.
today?
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. Just got done doing a bunch of client work today, editing a bunch of videos for different clients, and here I am now chatting with you. I also did two covers today: a Spirit Box cover for their new song "Circle with Me," and a Kim Dracula cover for his song "Killdozer." So
All
that's
right.
that's what I've been up to all day.
That's cool. Wow. Um, so usually my first question for people is where they grew up at and where they're from. But I was reading through your website and I found out that you actually grew up in Oklahoma for most of your childhood and teen years, and you were born here in Oklahoma.
So I am originally from Oklahoma City, but when I was 16, my dad actually moved my family to the Middle East. And I'm not talking like Georgia, I'm talking like Dubai, like Abu Dhabi, Dubai. So I spent 3 years in Dubai studying film, graduated high school there, studied film, and then moved to Australia for a year to graduate with my bachelor's in film production. Started a band there called Morning Lilith, and we played a few shows. We ended up playing one day of Warp Tour here in America. Flew the band across the world to play one show, and then moved to California, and now I live in San Diego in Southern California, and this is where I currently reside. And I've been in California since 2014, and I love it here.
That's cool. Yeah, I had no idea you were originally from Oklahoma. That like blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, another cool person from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm from Shawnee. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Yeah. So what high school did you go to?
Shawnee High School.
Shawnee High School. Okay, so I went to Deer Creek in Edmond.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, what was it? I want to say they were a 5A school, so we saw them in marching band contests. So
Yes, yes,
yeah,
marching band.
yeah.
What?
Were you in marching band?
I was on the drum line because that's where
Okay.
like the cool kids were.
Yeah, I I played trumpet from 2012 to 2016. What years were you in high school?
So oh my god. 20 like 2009 to 2011, I want to say.
Okay. All right, so we're not that much. You're not that much older than me. Okay, cool. That's cool. Episodes of the Green Corn Rebellion Show were brought to you by Addie Sugar Shack, located at 1228 North Interstate Drive in Norman, Oklahoma. Norman's new shaved ice concept. They feature 45 flavor options plus unique snacks. They love the vibe. It's worth the drive.
Yeah.
um, yeah. So what made you want to get into photography?
Wow, that's a big topic. So I when I moved to the Middle East, well, I mean, I've always had like a camera in my hands since I was a kid. I like took the family home video camera, like the camcorder, and was like filming skits in the garage. But when we moved to the Middle East, I started vlogging my life on YouTube because I thought it was kind of interesting that I was this American living in the Middle East, and I had made all these friends over there. So we started vlogging, and then I had to figure out what I wanted to do after high school. And I took a photography class like outside of school, like just like a local photography class. And the instructor actually asked me if I wanted to assist him on a shoot. So my first time ever being on set as a photographer was as an assistant, and we were shooting uh the new Maserati for that year for a British motorsports magazine. And one of my photos actually ended up in the magazine. And so I kind of got hooked after that and just like decided to study film and do photography. So I started going to film school, and I created a documentary about dogfighting in the Middle East, actually. That was like my first project. My neighbor had a Rottweiler that he had rescued from a dogfighting ring. And so I was like, I need to tell this story. So I started kind of documenting real world stories. And then when I moved to Australia, I started photographing live music because there was an ample amount of shows, and I just kept pursuing that. And then when I moved to America, I started, or moved back to America, I should say, I went, I emailed Kevin Lyman, the founder of Vans Warped Tour, and I asked him if I could photograph a, a show. And he said, yeah, whatever show you want to come to, just come out. So I ended up shooting like 8 shows that year, like 8 Vans Warped Tour dates, and just traveled around the country with some friends and ended up on a tour with a band working for them. And then it just kind of went from there, like it just kind of grew as a career. And I've been freelancing full time since 2015. 2015, 2016, I've been freelance full time. And yeah, that's kind of the short version of my story.
That's cool. So what made you want to become a vocalist?
So, man, I guess just like listening to good music made me want to become a vocalist. Like, I remember when I was like 14 or 15, I was in high school at Deer Creek, actually, in Oklahoma, in Edmond, and we were at lunch, and we were like chilling outside, me and my friend group, and I was like friends with all the scene kids, so we just like listened to heavy music during our lunch break together, and like
Yeah.
listened to the newest thing that was out. And around that time, From First to Last was really big. And so we were listening to the song Ride the Wings of Pestilence, and Matt Good has this like scream part in the bridge. And my friends were like, "Kay, you should scream this part." And I was like joking, and I was like, "Ha, okay." And I did it, and it actually like came out properly. And I went home that day and recorded a cover of Bodies by Drowning Pool and
Nice.
uploaded that to YouTube. And that was my first video that I ever put on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh wow. That's so
And the
cool.
rest is history. I just kept doing it because I could do it. Yeah.
Wow. Who are some of your musical influences?
So I would definitely put Chester Bennington up there from Linkin Park. Rest in peace, Chester. But he was a huge inspiration, and still is a huge inspiration to me as a vocalist, both singing. Him, Jared Leto from 30 Seconds to Mars has always been a favorite of mine. I grew up listening to bands like Atreyu, so they had a lot of influence on me. OTEP, Flyleaf, like Lacey Sturm of Flyleaf. Obviously, she was one of the OGs, and
Yeah.
I actually a few years ago got to film a music video for her first single as a solo
Oh,
artist.
that's so
The
cool.
song is called Rot, and the music video has like 4 million views, and it's the most viewed
Wow.
video I've ever made that I've ever worked on. So that was a huge accomplishment for me, like career wise. And we still stay in touch to this day. And she's such a talented artist and such a kind-hearted person, and I'm super grateful for like that relationship and all the relationships I've fostered. And the cool thing about being a vocalist and being in these bands and doing all these covers and stuff is that a lot of these artists that I looked up to are now my peers. Like Maddie Mullins from Memphis Mayfire is a friend of mine, like uh there it's crazy to think that I grew up listening to these people, and now I like can text them and be like, "Yo, what's up? Like, I'm coming into town. Do you want to hang out and get lunch?" Like it's nuts. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Like since I've been doing YouTube and stuff, I've become kind of friends and acquaintances with some of the people who I was watching on YouTube just like a few years ago, and I've had some of them on my show, and it's
Yeah.
like a really interesting experience to have that. It's like so weird, like it's really cool. You said OTEP. I listened to OTEP a little bit whenever I was in high school, and I was like the only person who knew who she was. Um, but yeah, what else is there? Uh, oh, what about Slipknot?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I remember when I moved out to California, one of the first festivals I worked at was Not Fest.
Oh,
And it
cool.
was just crazy to be like, I had like an all access pass because I was helping a merchandise company called Mosh It Up Clothing. I
Mhm.
was helping them sell merch, but I was also shooting photos. So I could like go backstage and like ended up hanging out with like Upon a Burning Body and, just like walking past Slipknot before they go on stage and just realizing like, these are legends right here. Like
Yeah,
this is actually crazy that I'm walking past these people just casually like, hey, what's up, clown? Like what the heck?
that's so crazy. Um, what about Limp Bizkit? Were you ever into Limp Bizkit?
So I wasn't really too into Limp Biscuit. I mean, obviously I knew the hits, but I never really like listened to them because I think I went more of the Linkin Park route. It was like
Mhm.
either you were like Limp Biscuit or Linkin Park, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I was both. Yeah, for me, like I got into Lincoln Park,
Fair.
and then like like my eighth grade year, I got into Lincoln Park, and that summer I was really into Lincoln Park, and then like what was it? It was my sophomore year of high school. I became obsessed with Limp Bizkit and Korn and Slipknot and all those different new metal bands. Like I got deep into it. And still am, obviously, but like yeah, like those were my people back then. Um, let's see. Episodes of the Green Corn Rebellion Show are sponsored by Oklahoma Progress Now. Oklahoma Progress Now is a 501c4 organization focused on building progressive power in Oklahoma. Their primary efforts are on developing progressive content for a 21st century audience, coalition, and capacity building across progressive organizations and causes, and working to see elected leaders who are more responsive to their constituents and the needs of the many. Areas of focus include progressive messaging and communications, coalition building and resource sharing, and focused progressive policy goals. You can check out their Twitch live streams, and they go live on Facebook on at noon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please support this organization. It's a really great organization. It's just getting started here in Oklahoma. Thank you. Now enjoy the rest of the video. Um, so what made you choose which songs to cover? Like, was it like a lot of people asked you to do those covers and then you were like, okay, I'll do those? Or was it like you decided that you would do them because you thought they were cool, or maybe a little bit of both?
So back in the day, I used to do vocals over top of the original song. Like this is before I had friends to do like the instrumentals or, before I hired people to do the instrumentals for songs now. So I used to just do them over the original songs. And so it was like back in the day I used to cover like Katy Perry and Lady Gaga and like, whatever was like on the pop charts at the moment, but I would scream on top of the original song and that was like the thing that really built my YouTube channel. Um and then I got super into rap music. I love rap music. I normally, if I'm not listening to metal, I'm listening to rap music. Like that's it. So I started covering a lot of rap songs and turning them metal because like I love rap, so why not cover
Yeah.
what I love, So I I I love doing rap music, and nowadays what we're doing is kind of covering what's popular on TikTok.
Yeah.
Works. It's like this formula we found in December of 2019, right before the pandemic. We like found this formula that just worked for us, and it like blew up my TikTok exponentially. And like I've never seen growth like that on any social media platform. Like TikTok has been the fastest growing and the most exponential growth that I've ever experienced. And so we started covering like all the trending sounds and songs, like whatever was trending that we could turn into a metal version. We were doing it because we realized that all the metalheads wanted to make TikToks as well, but like they don't necessarily want to use like the pop version or like the original version. So like we started making metal versions for them so that they would have sounds to use.
Hmm.
So that worked for us for like about a year. And then everybody else caught up, and like
Yeah.
now everybody's doing metal covers of like the trending sounds. So now there's like more competition, which is makes it kind of fun, but it's also an opportunity to collaborate with these other people. Like Kiki Wongo is like
Yeah.
an amazing guitarist, and she covers a ton of stuff on TikTok, and like we've collaborated on a few things. And things like duets are super fun to do on TikTok, because then that opens the doors for like further collaboration in the future on other stuff. So yeah, I mean, I back TikTok 100%. I mean, it's been like it's kind of plateaued for everybody right now, and like we've all seen this like kind of like slow down, and I think it's because the world is opening up again
Yeah.
after the pandemic. So like people are on their phones less because they're back at work and back at school, and then they're going back to their normal activities. And so we're seeing like a dip a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's how we figured out like what to cover over the years. And now we're doing a lot of throwbacks. So I mean, like I've got an Of Mice and Men song in the books that's coming out soon. We have a Make Them Suffer song coming out soon. And whatever's popular at the moment, we're also covering that we like. Like I told you earlier today, I covered a Spirit Box song that just came out. So it's like a little bit of everything that we're doing, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. And the cool thing about doing covers now, doing them properly with like instrumentalists, is that we can actually put them on like like major outlets like Spotify and iTunes and Amazon Music and all that stuff, and actually make money covering the songs. So that's been super cool, and we've been able to do that through a distributor called Sounddrop. Their main thing is distributing covers for artists. So basically, you upload your song, you pay a licensing fee so that the original artist gets their percentage of the song, because it's their song, so they get their percentage, and then you get whatever's left after that. So I mean, shout out Sounddrop for sure. Like without them, like we probably wouldn't be making any money doing this. But yeah, like that's how we figured out what songs to cover, and that's how we've made it work for us. And yeah, it's nice to have like a little paycheck every month just from streams. It's been super cool to watch that grow over time and actually have it become like a source of passive income. So
Yeah. Like I've seen other bands, they've started to do this like Fame on Fire. They're one of the newer bands that I've seen. They have a whole bunch of covers of songs that they get played on Octane and stuff like that. And they have songs of
yeah,
their own too. And I've seen them start trying to cover TikTok sounds. And I'm like, okay, that's really cool. And what else? The first, like, what was it? Like the first time I was on TikTok was like March, April of last year. And that was like when Swish, your version of Swish was like really popular. And I think, what was it? Like that was like a TikTok sound, like a little bit before I started getting on TikTok. But like your version of Swish like became its own thing for like a couple of months there. And that was pretty
yeah,
crazy. Like it made me think like and like I've seen this happen with some other songs too. Other metal songs will become like their own popular sound on TikTok. Like what is it? The A Day to Remember song. Uh the Disrespect Your
Oh
Surroundings.
yeah.
That yeah, like and
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, oh, like TikTok is now kind of like the gateway for people to get into metal now. Like we didn't really like have that before because no one really listens to rock radio anymore and that kind of a thing. So I was like, there's probably going to be
Right.
like thousands of people that hear your cover of Swish, or they like the TikToks of the Day to Remember song or some of the other songs. There was the Asking Alexandria. I can't think of it. It's the track 2 on their first album. That was like a popular song, TikTok sound for a while. I was
Oh,
like, yeah, and I had,
yep.
and even though I was like in middle school, high school, whenever those songs like were popular, like I didn't really mess with Asking Alexandria or A Day to Remember back then. But though hearing those TikTok sounds made me look into those bands, and then I started listening to Ask Alexandria a little bit more. So I'm like, this is pretty cool. Have you ever had someone tell you that they got into heavy metal because of your covers?
Oh, it happens all the time, mostly like YouTube comments, like will say like, wow, I didn't know I needed this, but like, thank you for covering this song. Like I had no idea this even existed or this was even possible, but like, or they'll say like, I got one the other day. It said like, great cover, horrible original, like stuff like that. Like is funny to me because I'm like, well, we covered it for a reason. Like we liked it, or like, we thought that it would do well. And yeah, some songs like are better in metal versions for sure. Like
Yeah.
I think, just because like, especially like we did a cover of Bad Guy by Billie Eilish,
Yeah.
and it like blew up.
Hmm.
And it was so easy because like Billy and her brother Phineas, like they basically wrote a breakdown in a
Yeah.
pop song, and it
Hmm.
was like laid out there for us. Like all we
Yeah.
had to do was like add a China or like add a splash to it, and make it like a proper metal breakdown. And it was like some songs just meld so well into the metal version, and it's so fascinating to see that kind of stuff. And like we love it. Like I love getting the comments that say like, I got into metal because of you. Like that's one of the coolest compliments that I can receive, is that somebody started listening to metal because of a cover that I did.
Yeah, that's really cool. And one of the ones I like that you did was the Homicide cover. I think it's a Logic song. Logic and Joyner Lucas, am
Yeah.
I right? Originally do that.
Eminem.
Eminem, that's it. How did I know that? Eminem's literally my favorite artist. Anyway, I don't even really like the original song, but I like the way that your version is like a lot better. It's really good, and like I've always liked the idea of like screaming and rapping. Like that's why I liked Corey Taylor, and that kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
like those in OTEP, of course, but like yeah, like that whole thing is really cool. Like, have you ever heard of the rapper Starlord?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's also like Ghost Main does it as well. He's
Yes.
like
Yeah.
a rap screamer. He
Yeah.
does it as well, and he's super unique as well. And I love that rap and metal are starting to merge together. And so like my love for rap has definitely come into my original music as well. Like with Chasing Satellites, we have the Split series. So we have Split 1 and Split Part 2 with the same rapper on both songs. And I just wanted to have a song with one of my favorite rappers on it, Demolition, who is now like a really good friend of mine. I I found him years ago on a website called mp3boo.com. Basically, it was like a it was like a torrent site where
Hmm.
you could find music that was like underground, and you could download it directly. And I would pick the music I listen to based off of the album covers.
Mhm.
So I definitely judge books by their cover when it comes to music. Like, it's the same if you go to a record store, like you look at the cover and you're like, this looks cool, I'm going to check out the music. It was the same kind of thing. So I saw his album cover for his like EP or LP or whatever it was, and I downloaded it. And then a few years later, I like just hit him up on a whim, and I was like, hey, would you ever want to rap over some rock music? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And he did Split Part 1, and then I came to him again. I was like, would you want to do a part 2 to our song? And he said yes. And so now, like, a little teaser for all the Chasing Satellites fans, Demolition and I actually want to do a 5-track EP together where we do 5 songs together on one album, and it'll just be like Chasing Satellites / Demolition album. So yeah, that's in the works for probably 2022 ish, because Chasing Satellites has an LP, a 7-track that's ready to go now. We're just waiting to like release it, make music videos, and so yeah, we've got some stuff in the works, which is really exciting. And the music has gotten better,
Mhm.
and my vocals have gotten better, so I'm really excited for people to hear this new stuff that we have.
That's cool. And another thing, like I remember whenever I was like in high school and I was listening to uh stuff like Slipknot and OTEP and stuff like that, I was thinking to myself, I was like, one day in the future, there's probably going to be rappers who cover these songs, but they're gonna, instead of having like guitar, instead of them being metal songs, they're gonna be rap songs. Because like a lot of those songs, like Sick, Eyeless, Disaster Piece, Wait and Bleed, Spit It Out, those songs, he's just rapping the whole time. Like one day someone's gonna just take
Yeah.
like those bars and just like put them over like a rap beat, and it's gonna be like the coolest thing ever. No one's even gonna know, and it's I can't wait for that to happen, because I think that's like the next thing. I
Yep.
feel like we're like 5 years away from that. Let's see.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and
That'll be
yeah,
super interesting to see.
yeah, like what is it, like I know what's his name, some of these younger rappers like Ski Mask the Slum God, have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like influenced by a lot of the new metal stuff. Like someone like him would probably be able to like cover a Slipknot song like that. Or this guy I know from the UK, his name is Kid Bookie. He's huge in the Slipknot too. Um, but last question I have here is, what are you currently working on?
A lot. So I briefly mentioned the Chasing Satellite stuff that is coming out either this year or next year. We're just like waiting on releases. We're talking to a couple different outlets, things like that, for Chasing Satellites. And then I'm actually in another band called Matriarchs, and I joined them last year during the pandemic. They actually found me on TikTok because of my covers. So we put out an album called Year of the Rat last October. So if people are more into like hardcore music, it's like a LA hardcore band. So definitely check out Year of the Rat. We just covered Heavy in Your Arms by Florence and the Machine, and it's one of the harder songs I've ever had to cover, but it came out really well. So Matriarchs is working on new music. We actually have a couple shows lined up here in California. We have a show in Big Bear coming up. We have a show in LA coming up. And then in September, we are actually playing at a festival. We're playing like the pre-show to a festival called Rebel Rock in Florida. So we're playing like the day before the festival starts, and like POD is headlining, which is sick. I love POD. My friend Samir plays keyboard for them. Like Slaves is playing with us. Like we're so stoked for that show. So we've got a couple shows lined up here and there. And then Chasing Satellites would love to tour in 2021. Right now it's just me. I don't have band members. It's just like me and a producer and like a writer. So that's how Chasing Satellites has always been. I've never actually had band members for Chasing Satellites, but I would love to like put a lineup together and actually play some shows with that. So that's the plan for 2021 and 2022. So yeah, lots of original stuff coming out, tons of covers coming out, and just grinding away as a videographer and photographer the whole time, and I just had top surgery, so I'm recovering from that right now, and very happy with that. And yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on right now and in the near future.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can we find you on social media, and what is your website?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram just under K Enagonio, or my photography and video stuff. And I also explore abandoned places if anybody's interested in that, at no.tracers on Instagram. My YouTube channel is just the letter K, and my music YouTube is K the Screamer Official, which is also my TikTok. And if you want to hire me for photo, video purposes, whether it's for your band or for your company or your product, you can go to justtheletterk.com and you can find all the information about me there, as well as my work and my music and my podcasts and all the good stuff. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And everybody hit that subscribe button and destroy the thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. Let's go.
Thanks.